Bonjour mes amis! Hi guys, let's talk about Seiko a little bit. I don't know if you are subscribed to J. Anthony. If you're not, you should. He's a well-spoken man on YouTube talking about watches. He's got an interesting journey and he's got a long-running watch channel. And today he was talking about Seiko and how he's a bit fallen out of love with the brand and not really talking that much about it on his channel. Now my channel is much younger, only 2 years, but you know I've been reviewing many Seikos. I still have many Seikos and Grand Seiko in my collection, although I am currently trying to sell the Grand Seiko, and I've just sold a few Seikos, paring down the collection. So I wanted to rebound a bit on what he was saying and add my 2 cents to it. So he's had Presage models. He's got a Monster. The Presage, I think, is the Cocktail Time. His cousin has the SKX, and he had a Sumo. And 3 of those watches within the first 2 years of their life stopped working. And in the case of an SKX, servicing that movement cost as much as the watch, which basically renders the watch pretty much garbage. What are you gonna do with it? You can just swap out the movement. So when it's a bit more expensive watch, let's say the Saab 033 here, I think it makes sense to just swap out the movement. It's probably cheaper than to service it through Seiko, but it turns those watches a bit into disposable objects, which is kind of sad because they're beautiful watches. And that's how we pick watches, right? It's the looks. First the looks, then we look at the price. Okay, the looks, look at the Saab Alpinist, original look, specs are great, good water resistance, etc. Okay, next, what's the price? Get a good price, $300. Okay, that's value for money. Once you own it, the most important thing is going to become not the looks, but the reliability. Because if a watch stops or if it doesn't keep time, then that's it, it's useless to you. You're not going to wear a watch that doesn't run. So then what is the service experience going to be? And if you've been following my channel, you know that even Grand Seiko is terrible, at least here in Hong Kong. Your mileage may vary depending on where you live. I think in America it's probably better. But still, it means you're gonna usually be away from your watch. Your watch will be away from you for a while. In my case, for just a cosmetic issue with the Grand Seiko, the watch was taken away for 6 months with little to no information, and they did absolutely nothing. So that kind of killed the upper echelon of Seikos for me. And which is interesting because Seiko and Grand Seiko have been pushing up their prices, changing specs ever so slightly, but they used to be great value for money. And in the entry levels now, I think they've just gone out of it. And the same for Grand Seiko. And the problem with Grand Seiko is that they can't compete with Omega or Rolex, although they're asking the same price in terms of service. And it makes me worried for the future when those spring drive movements are going to need servicing. Are they going to be able to keep up if they can't even fix a bezel? By the way, if you followed the whole saga of my Grand Seiko GMT bezel, I'm not the only one. Many guys have had that. And sometimes the watch came back with actually the bezel moving, popping out with barely any effort, which is extremely worrying. I think you would agree. Now back to Seiko in more general terms. So yes, reliability, most important. Once the watch stops, it becomes useless, and it becomes a drag. Now, of course, I'm comparing here, just like J. Anthony, I've wandered pretty quickly into more luxurious brands, Rolex, Omega, and the thing is, they cost more, but you're buying a lot more than just the look. You're buying a peace of mind. When you're on holiday or going on an expedition in the mountain once your mobile battery life is gone, the only tool that you have at your disposal is your watch. And having one that you can rely on is most important. Now, when you buy vintage, you never quite know when the watch is gonna stop and let you down. But you know that you don't really wear it for reliability. I think your life is not going to depend on a 30-year-old Rolex that has never been serviced, even though Rolex is the number one brand in terms of reliability. But once the watch it's serviced and properly, then normally Rolex will never let you down. And that's the whole appeal. That's also the reason why they keep value, why you can buy them and wear them basically for free, because you can always sell them back, which is not the case with a Seiko. So the whole value proposition here is shifted, and you have to understand that. But that is nothing new. I hope you knew that before. But in the case of Grand Seiko, it's a big problem if they charge you the same for the new watches as this Rolex Explorer over there, and they can't back up the service. And if you get tired of the brand, you can't sell the watch without losing 30%. That becomes a big problem that you didn't anticipate because you just got excited about the looks. In general, Seiko, I think there's a bit of Seiko fatigue. I know I did a video about the Rolex fatigue, but it wasn't about the watches themselves. It was more about the whole difficulty to get them. Very different from a Seiko, which you can always get. A bit of a Seiko fatigue because when you look at my Samurai there, a beautiful watch. It was one of the basic colorways, as they say, that came out, and now they keep on coming out with new colors, not really changing the models. It's sort of diluting the old models, making their value, if you wanted to sell one, even lesser. Or now they're upgrading watches in some ways with crystal or sapphire crystal or with a different movement, but then give you less in other ways in terms of water resistance or something. The value proposition is getting lost, especially compared to the very special model that were the Alpinist and the Saab. And in general, the models that have been coming out this year are not very exciting or are very highly priced. Those very expensive $4,000 or $5,000 Prospex models, supposedly designed by a car designer. I don't know who's gonna pay that kind of money for those watches, which look like a Marine Master souped up by a car guy, basically. It's really, there's little appeal to most car watch guys. It doesn't translate. Usually the association of car and watches is not a good thing. Then there's the SLA 033, bit like a Grand Seiko, pretty much by a Grand Seiko, but within the Prospex line. So again, very expensive watch. I think it's a fun watch when you get the Turtle, which is basically the descendant of the 6105. But at SLA 033, as beautiful as it is, you don't get a bracelet. Nice movement, original case, but it's priced at the same price of an Omega Seamaster 300. Like everything is called Seamaster, and almost everything is called 300 with Omega. But like the one that looks like a James Bond model, if you know what I mean, or for that matter, the new 300 as well. And when you see what you get from Omega, all the tech, a nice bracelet, and the service to back it up, yes, Seiko is out of their depth, I think, and I think it's gonna show in the next quarterly results, and maybe you see a shift backwards in the coming 2 years in their strategy. Then there was the release of this fashion version of the SKX that I spoke about recently. It's another miss, and all this, it hurts the brand. I'm not saying that they were impeccable before, but I think that all the Seiko fanboys became fans because there was so much great about the brand. There was all the great Seiko 5s. when Grand Seiko came up, it was something new and a good proposition. And I think when the brand starts making a lot of mistakes, look what happened with Panerai. Now they're desperate to sell a Panerai watch at the shop. And I think that's going to happen with Grand Seiko, and I think that's going to really hurt the Seiko brand as well. Now there's more and more YouTube channels, more and more social media, so you're aware of all the issues, and people voice their opinions more, I suppose, than before. The watch thing, and the secondary market also has grown a lot, and it's a thing, that you see every day. And if you see that your watch doesn't keep value, and that the brand is doing things you don't agree with, and that you might have problems with the movement, you doubt your next purchase. You're thinking, okay, what's next beyond Seiko? So that was a bit my 2 cents about the matter. Let me know how you're feeling about Seiko. I'm still wearing the samurai there in the middle of the screen. Is my go-to on the weekend to go to the beach or to go to the pool with my kids. I used to play tennis with it. Now I'm using the Alpinist to play tennis. I'm not sure it's a good idea, although it has shock absorption technology. And 200 meters of water resistance. I have it on this really cool NATO strap with gold accents, so really all the colors are married very well with the colors within the dial. I got it from Mr. Chrono. It's my go-to shop here in Hong Kong. I'm not really sure what the brand is. But it's been solid. And when you get back from playing tennis, you just wash it with water. I suppose I can put it in the washing machine. I should do that. Now, is the watch going to survive the way I play tennis, which is fairly intense? I'm not quite sure. Maybe I shouldn't subject it to that. It's become a bit of a collectible, this watch. It's really such a lovely little design. And that's the whole thing, it's a design that catches you. And so far, it's performing without any issues. That they were taking so much care into every detail. Look at the date wheel, which is color coded to the bezel. There hasn't been a model recently that has really captured my attention. Not just me, but I think everybody. And give credit where credit is due. I think TGV on the Urban Gentry channel, as much as people like to criticize him now. Whether it's right or wrong, he did hype many watch guys to those watches, and he was right. And the Sub 033, if all you can afford is $300 watch in your budget, you can't do better than one of these two watches, or the Samurai for that matter, if you have a larger wrist and you want something sportier. So there you go. Let me know what you think, where you are in your love of Seiko. It would be interesting to hear from guys who just got hip to the hobby. How you feeling if you're looking at the older models, if you want to get one of the newer ones. I'm seeing those Presage models, the one with the urushi lacquer and all those great dials. They don't sell. They always stay there at the shops because the price point is $1,500 or something, and they're a bit thick. And you can forgive a watch that's a little thick when it comes at an affordable price point, because the polishing is so amazing, and you got a signed crown, elements that you're gonna lose with the newer models. So yeah, it comes down to the value proposition and the brand in general, the feel for the brand. All right, 15 minutes, that's way too long for a video. If you haven't done so, please do subscribe, because I think 80% of the views of my videos are from people who are not subscribed. So I promise you there's going to be a couple more videos coming that you want to be informed about, and like the video, that would help as well. All right, guys, take care.